So I've become really fascinated with this term that the left likes to throw around for whenever, supposedly, right-wingers reveal how actually evil they even are evil, actually. And what they use to describe this is the term mask off. They talk about mask off moments or the mask slipping. It's usually incredibly cringe when they do so because they're just referring to normal, most of the time incredibly factual talking points that they have no refutation for. However, these moments do occur all of the time, and they specifically occur among figures on the left. And what we're going to talk about today is Cenk Uyghur's mask off moment, because it's one thing to talk about how they're ginning up racial hysteria and hatred for white people in this country, but it's another thing for Cenk to just come out and reveal all of the pent-up hatred that he has against white people on his show, on a video that is uploaded on his channel right now. Now, to lay the groundwork for this so that you guys can understand it, this was all over Stweven Crowder saying that a female Asian reporter had a face that was aggressively Asian. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing the aggressively Asian part is because Cenk thinks for some reason the word aggressive is a synonym for stupid, and that leads him to go absolutely insane against all white people / right-wingers. He conflates the two because that's how racist he is, and that's what we're gonna go over. But first, we gotta talk about your diet. I have a sponsor, Keto with Justice, last sponsor of the month. Relax, let's roll into it, and then we'll get into the video on the other side. A new study just revealed some shocking statistics. According to the CDC, 49% of the American population is medically obese. Not overweight, not slightly too big for those pants, obese. And it's because people are just kind of being a little bit more active and kind of watching their diet, but what they really need is a secret weapon. And the secret weapon that I recommend is Keto with Justice. Go to my custom URL, ketowithjustice.com, order yourself a product at a 51% discount just for people in my audience that is proven to assist people in losing weight. It follows the basic principles of the keto diet. It's got great reviews. If you don't love it, you can return it within 60 days and get a money-back guarantee. No risk, high rewards. Go to ketowithjustice.com to get that.
Stweven Crowder, who notoriously ran away from a debate featuring Sam Seder on his own show.
So we talked about this in the past on my YouTube channel. I made an entire video about it. I don't think anybody really came out looking good from that scenario, but specifically the worst person in that scenario that Anna Kasparian just wrongfully described was Ethan Klein, because it was Ethan Klein's show. He was the one who was supposed to bait Stweven Crowder, but he brought on Sam Seder because he wanted to make a big thing about it, and he was, of course, afraid to engage in the conversation after having a back and forth with Stweven. That being said, Anna's terrible, bad, inaccurate framing aside, we're gonna have to skip past that and move on to what's going on in this video.
Has some thoughts about the appearances and the identities of other people. Now, while talking about an In-N-Out fast food restaurant in San Francisco, essentially fighting back against San Francisco's vaccine mandate, he decided to comment on the appearance of a local reporter who was reporting on that story. So let's watch the video, see what he had to say.
San Francisco In-N-Out, they've been in a battle with the city over, let me just let them tell you the story, vaccine requirements.
Brian, right now, this Fisherman's Wharf
aggressively Asian face
is open, but only
it is,
for to-go orders. Take a look at that sign on the door. It says indoor dining is unavailable at this time, and that's because the city's Department of Public Health said In-N-Out is not complying with its health order to check for proof of vaccination from customers. It was not denying entry to those without proper documentation. Now, the city confirmed it closed this location temporarily last Thursday. In-N-Out said
the city confirmed that it closed a private business for not acting like the FDA.
It would not comply with what it called the requirement to act as the vaccination police.
By the way, the reason I say this is because usually with the reporters, they're kind of Americanized Asian, so I think it's a good thing.
No, it's fantastic.
It's a good thing. It's full Asian.
It's good. That's a good thing.
I wish she would have kept her fan.
Yeah, a little bit of dancing. Well, look, it looks hot. It looks like it's hot.
Yeah, that's right.
But here's the
I'm
thing.
Wong Geisha.
So before Anna gets into it with her face being that upset based on the jokes, let's run down what Stweven Crowder was actually joking about. He was joking about this woman and her face, saying that she looks really Asian. And if you look at her face, she does look pretty Asian for whatever that means. She's got strong cheekbones, which I don't even know if they're an Asian thing, but for some reason you look at her face and you're like, yeah, that's an Asian woman. And I guess that's the joke. Later on, he says that most of the news people or whatever are like half Asians. I guess that's true. All of the Asians in media that I can think of are half Asian, but then again, it's because my Asian female friends in media happen to be one person, and that's Lauren Chen, and she's half Asian. But it's a joke. They start talking about how she kind of looks like Lucy Liu from Charlie's Angels, if you caught that reference, and a bunch of other stuff. But that's what it is. Crowder does a comedy show. Whether you think this was funny or not on its own is up to you, but that's the basic premise. That's the no-no thing that Stweven Crowder said that the Young Turks is doing a segment on. Now, let's see the reaction from the Young Turks, because it's gonna be epic.
I know right-wingers love to say like, oh, offensive jokes, they're just jokes. And so what are you guys getting upset about? Well, then I guess you probably don't mind if it goes both ways, right?
Cenk immediately is like, I know right-wingers are gonna say offensive jokes are just jokes, and it doesn't matter what you say about it, but it's okay if it goes both ways, right? Right? You know how they end every sentence on their show with right, because they need affirmation from the other people? Yeah, we're totally fine with that. That's not a big deal. Now, is Cenk, in your mind, going to deliver an equivalent response, say aggressively white face, or do you think Cenk is going to go in a totally different direction?
Right-wingers have stupid white faces, really stupid white faces. It's just a joke though, I'm just kidding around though, I mean.
So immediately we go to stupid white faces, and we get right-wingers have stupid white faces to Cenk, because what Cenk is doing is actually incredibly, infinitely more racist than anything you'll see from people that they label racist, where he's attributing political beliefs and ideas to his opponents based on their race. And this is nowhere near equivalent. This is not a fun time. Cenk is about to unload because he hates white people and he needs to get it off his chest, as if the existence of his show over the last decade and a half hasn't been proof positive of his hatred for white people.
No, but it's a good thing, Cenk, because typically they do like half stupid faces, but it's really good to see that they allow themselves to do full stupid faces.
Yeah.
Right? We're saying positive things about their stupid faces.
No.
So of course, Anna adding nothing of value, now talking about how they go half stupid, but now they are going full stupid, and that's a compliment. Again, what Crowder was making a joke at, or trying to make a joke at, depending on whether or not you found it personally funny, was the fact that this woman looked really Asian, and typically in media, what we see when we see Asian people are more anglicized Asians. I mean, you can deny the fact that this is a real thing all you want, but in reality, it is true. Many Asian cultures have a totally, completely different view of cosmetic procedures than we do here in the United States, seeing them more as a status symbol rather than something that you should hide or try to play down or try to pretend doesn't happen, like we see with our Hollywood actresses who all over time develop the same nose. And if you want to ignore the fact that some of those cosmetic procedures have been called by people on the left anglicization of the Asian face, then that's on you, but that's obviously what Crowder's joke was rooted in. It has nothing to do with intelligence. People don't typically stereotype Asians as lacking intelligence, because by the numbers, Asians outperform everybody in the United States statistically.
Oh yeah, and if you're gonna go stupid stupid white face as a right-winger, that's perfect right there. Full stupid white face.
Super happy to see him embracing his full stupidity.
Yeah, so when I see right-wingers, all I see is stupid white face, but of course I'm just kidding around. I'm kidding around. You guys are probably smart. I mean,
Cenk, we know you're not kidding. We know you hate white people. We know that this is your little bit of a coming out party, announcing it to the world that you hate white people, and it's gonna get so much worse as we go on. You're gonna reveal what you actually believe in your heart, and I want it out there in the public. That's why I'm immortalizing it in this video.
So here, let's show you another one that might fit the bill here. See, there you go, there you go. There's a stupid white face, because all right-wingers have stupid white faces, but we're just kidding. It's a stereotype. It's a stereotype of how dumb right-wingers are, but joking around about stereotypes is no big deal, because you all know you're Neanderthals, and we're just joking though. We're just joking about how stupid you all are. We're just joking, so I know you don't mind.
I'm half Puerto Rican, so I'm only a half white, but I have to say, Tucker Carlson's tan is putting me to shame. My natural pigmentation is not as dark as Tucker Carlson, but again, we hear stupid white faces, we hear Cenk ramping up the vitriol against white people, right-wingers. He conflates the two. I know I just did it because after listening to him, I get stumbling on that. I'm not gonna lie, but this is, again, Cenk slowly but surely unmasking himself. Also, follow me on Instagram, but we're gonna go into Cenk unmasking himself.
Okay, so the reason I do that, guys, is because
Cenk, the reason you do that is because you personally are insecure. You have personal hatred and vitriol for white people who you believe to be the author of your perils that you've gone throughout your life, when in reality, you are in fact the author of all of your perils. The fact that you don't pay attention to what you're saying, the fact that you're sloppy, the fact that you don't check any facts before reporting any stories has allowed people to come out and make careers out of making fun of you, even though we're not going to name anybody in particular in that category.
They think a joke about your ethnicity and your face when you're different than white is no big deal because it isn't about us. It's about you. We get to do these stereotypes about you and you have no power. And then all of our stupid, now this is real, our stupid viewers will think, oh yeah, Asians, Asians, look at their Asian face.
Cenk, what the hell are you talking about? We get to do this about you and about your face if you're not white. Stweven Crowder is a known dude that makes fun of people's appearances. Most of the time, the people whose appearances he's making fun of are white people. Typically, they're overweight white people with pink hair and they call themselves feminists. But this is what he does. He goes after people's appearances. And him saying that this woman looks particularly Asian, aggressively Asian, as he said, is nowhere near even close to the worst that Crowder has ever gone after somebody's appearance. It's not about saying you have no power and we get to do this to you because you're not white. You made that up in your head because you think power should be delegated racially because you are an anti-white racist. You're a racial supremacist. That's why you named your organization after the organization that perpetuated the Armenian genocide, which you denied up until like 8 days ago.
What the hell what does that mean? What does that mean?
He specifically said aggressively Asian face. I don't like what.
No, because to them, Asians are the other.
If you don't know what it means, if you're asking, what does that mean? What does that mean? Then why did you substitute stupid for the word aggressive? Obviously, you're taking meaning from it that was not given. You're being offended. Offense is taken. It's not given because when that rattled around in your brain, it made you angry because you're a rage monster. And all you do is look for reasons to let out some of your anti-white hate. But it just means that this woman looked really Asian. And again, look at her face. She does look really Asian. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I don't care about her face. But that was the joke that Stweven Crowder, who's trying to do a late night comedy show, made. That's it.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
And so white is normal, but like, oh, wow, you look really Asian. That's even worse. But he says, of course, he realizes he stepped in it and he needs plausible deniability. So he says, oh, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to go full Asian. I don't know if you know this. Asians are full Asian. So they're not going full Asian. They are Asian.
Again, all of this is coming out of Cenk's head. It's all in his brain. It was not said by Stweven Crowder. But what's really telling about Cenk's total lack of understanding for what Stweven Crowder said, because he just got rageful and decided that this was his chance to go after the whites, is that he doesn't understand that Crowder was saying go full Asian in terms of the local media, not in terms of this person. The whole joke is that they typically put more anglicized Asians on screen, which, by the way, is a left-wing position about how white is the beauty standard or whatever. That's what that's a play off of, and this woman looks distinctly Asian. She doesn't look Americanized or partially Asian. She looks full Asian. Again, it's not a good joke. I don't want to be talking about this. This isn't interesting. Unfortunately, this is the video where Cenk had to unmask himself and go full anti-white hatred.
Like as if like, oh, okay, we'll let you. Go ahead, go full Asian, go ahead, all right? Oh, well, thank you for your goddamn permission, right?
Cenk, nobody was saying you need permission from white people to be Asian. That's ridiculous. again, came out of your head.
So, look, and then he said something about her face being a black diamond.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's like some racist trope about about the flatness of the face. Of course it is. God damn it, you guys are so racist.
So I've never heard of this black diamond thing. In fact, since they were talking about Charlie's Angels, I thought it was a reference to one of those movies. Now, granted, I haven't seen them in a long time, but if black diamonds are uniquely flat or something like that, then I guess. I want to give Cenk the benefit of the doubt because I like to do that in these videos. But what happens is if I grant something to Cenk, if I don't look into it, if I don't debunk it, somebody in the comments will point out that I should have never given him the benefit of the doubt because he made that up. And again, this came out of Cenk's head about Asians having flat faces. I'm not sure that's a stereotype I've even heard of, and I live in an Asian neighborhood. But again, if that is the case, then whatever. That was the joke. If that's the case, let me know in the comments. Also, I don't care, so don't let me know in the comments. Or do. Who cares? Not me.
So look, just like my main request of right-wingers and their stupid white faces, just kidding, is just own up to your racism. It's not a big deal, guys. We're not taking your speech rights away. Nobody, I'm not saying take Crowder off of YouTube. I don't know if others are, but I'm not saying it. He gets to be stupid whiteface all day long, okay?
Cenk, you're the racist. You're the one who thinks that you have a counterpoint to aggressively Asian, which is stupidly white or white stupid faces. You're the one who's emphasizing race, not in a comedic way, in a mean-spirited way, due to underlying racial hatred that you have for white people. Also, I find it hilarious that Cenk's like, I'm not trying to get him off the air. Oh, I don't know, maybe somebody is. Cenk, Anna referenced Sam Cedar earlier in this video. Sam Cedar's trying to get him off the air. You know who's also trying to get him off the air? Anna Kasparian. You know who's also participated in this when it came to the whole Carlos Maza thing? You guys over at the Young Turks, and I'm pretty damn sure you specifically. So stop fronting, stop lying. You are trying to get people off the air because you're afraid of alternative viewpoints. So much so that Crowder's benign joke about this Asian reporter in a story that had to do with In-N-Out refusing a vaccine mandate is an entire segment where you're just bubbling up in rage and hysteria about.
But just say, look, okay guys, we don't like Asians. We think they look funny. They look funny. Because they're not us, so they look funny. Right? Okay, good, then you're a racist, then it's okay. It's okay. You just say you're a racist and let's move on, okay? But don't come here and tell us that Asians look funny with their aggressively Asian face and then tell us that you're not racist. That's the definition of racism. Look at how they look.
So again, Crowder didn't say aggressively Asian means this person looks funny. They compared her to Lucy Liu, which honestly with the cheekbones, it is a similarity, so I get the joke there. And Lucy Liu is a beautiful woman, so comparing her to her is not necessarily an insult. It's just like you're trying to invoke Charlie's Angels because you're trying to gin up some jokes based on what Crowder had identified in the beginning. This is like banter that they do in this show. If you think it's good or not, that's on you, honestly. I don't really care about that. But the idea that he was saying that she looks funny because she's Asian, or haha, Asians look funny, again, came from Cenk Uger's brain, not from Stweven Crowder's mouth.
Are you kidding me? And then of course it always gets worse because this stupid sideshow Bob, I don't know his name at all, comes in with, oh, she's like a geisha. The only thing that's missing is the fan.
The guy brought up the fan and then mentioned the geisha thing. So not really in that order, but we'll let it slide because I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I know you're about to walk off a cliff anyway.
Okay, now geishas are not prostitutes, but in American stereotypes, they are dumb right-wingers have characterized geishas as Asian prostitutes. And so their immediate reference to a reporter is, oh, she's Asian, so she must be a prostitute.
That came out of your head, 100%, 2000% that came out of your head. Nobody that I know thinks of geishas as prostitutes. Everybody understands to a certain extent that geisha is a thing that happens overseas in one of those Asian countries, and never have they linked them directly or said that all geishas are prostitutes. That's absolutely ridiculous and absurd, but your brain just went from fan geisha to he's saying that that woman is a prostitute even though she's a reporter because you see the geisha as a prostitute. Maybe you have your own issues with the kind of porn that you're watching, Cenk, but that is not a broadly held belief. I mean, a lot of people dress up as geishas for costumes, and people get mad because they're like, cultural appropriation, you're appropriating a status in Asia. And I sincerely doubt most people think when they hear about that the status that they're appropriating is a prostitute. That came out of your mouth, Cenk. You're the one who believes that. You're the one who just degraded what a geisha means down to a prostitute because you have your own personal problems that you need to sort with.
Nah, no, you racist piece of craps. I don't care how much you cry. I want you to cry all night tonight, okay? But you are definitely racist. You're a hateful person who does not care about other human beings at all. You're maniacally obsessed with your racism. White is good. Asians are different. Blacks are different. Mexicans are different. Muslims are different. Muslims are violent. Asians have flat faces and are whores. And this, and then blacks are stupid and violent. Why do you think we can't stand you? We can't stand you. Why do you think we can't stand you? We can't stand you.
Why do you think we can't stand you? We can't stand you.
Because you hate us, and we're tired of you hating us. We're exhausted from it. So my wife is Asian, I'm Muslim. All we've ever gotten is right-wing hate.
And there we go. This is the first step in the full reveal. Cenk says, why do you think we can't stand you? Why do you think we don't like you? And he talks about the insecurities that he feels, feeling like white people hate him, like white people have a problem with him, when the overall majority of white people don't care about him. Like, this is the great myth in society that white people are going around holding other people down. But Cenk, when he's saying, why do you think we can't stand you? He's talking to white people, and he's talking about how all these minority groups hate white people, and he's happy with that because he's exhausted with white people who he can't stand. This is Cenk letting it all out from beneath the surface, his hatred from white people based on his insecurities about being judged allegedly by white people, which, by the way, is just not happening.
And what do they say about Muslims all the time? Oh, they're violent, they're violent. No, you guys as in right-wing whites, it is a fact. You did the Holocaust. You did World War I, you did World War II, you did the Crusades, you did the oppression and the subjugation of the entire Southern Hemisphere. So don't come telling any other race who's violent and who is not violent. Don't come to us with any of your stupid racism. So don't come telling any other race. So don't come telling any other race who's violent.
And there you have it. Cenk goes full mask off and talks about how he doesn't want to be called violent because he believes that white right-wingers, he put the right-wing thing in there because, he's trying to pawn it off, but he conflates the two, are the most violent inherently. And he says the Holocaust, he says, you did the Holocaust. Who do you think he's talking to? Germanic peoples from the 1930s and 1940s? No, he's talking to all white people. You did all these other things, World War I, World War II, which, by the way, the Japanese kind of played a role in that. You want to talk about the terrible things that happened in Manchuria? You want to talk about how the mostly white Americans bailed out Europe of both of those wars? You want to talk about how the UK stood up to the Nazis? The UK, a distinctly white group of people? No, you just want to talk about how they did all the bad things. Which, by the way, who was the Holocaust inspired by? Why did the Germans think that they would get away with the Holocaust? I'll tell you, an organization called the Young Turks that Cenk named his company after from a genocide that he was denying committed the Armenian genocide. That's who they thought they could model their genocide after, and why they thought they would get away with it, because nobody spoke of the Armenians. So Cenk, the Turks, the Ottoman Empire, I'm sure they had no problems. Your ethnic group's personal history is insanely violent and disgusting. We literally had to invent the word genocide for what the Turks did to the Armenians. So don't come at me with that nonsense about how white people are more inherently violent, how they subjugated the Southern Hemisphere and all that, because white people won some wars and won some conquests recently in history, when in reality, all of humanity are descended from the most violent tribes of humans that we could have possibly come from, because that's how you win wars.
Now my kids are Asian. You gonna say something about their face?
Yeah, he will.
Okay, well they do because they don't think we're human. They don't care about us. Oh, I'm hurting your kids? Who cares they're Asian? Right? Well, I don't care about you. I don't care about you. Okay? I think you're a terrible person.
Cenk, don't come at me with your stupid, ignorant, blind racism that ignores all the facts around the world. The idea that white people are so evil and inherently violent, etc., is nonsensical. The idea that you're just going to spew that out there and it's going to go unchallenged is absolutely ridiculous. Again, look at the Turkish empire that you're so proud of. Look at the Young Turks as an organization that you got your organization's name from, and tell me who's embracing historic violence against minority groups and who isn't. Nobody's proud to be the Nazis. Nobody at all. The only people who are proud to be genocidal white people are called communists that simp for the Stalin regime and other white communist regimes. And by the way, that doesn't have anything to do with all the horrific Asian communist regimes, which are insanely violent, like Mao's China, Pol Pot's Cambodia, and so on. So Cenk, we're not going to hear this. We're not going to get lectured. We're not going to be upset by you crying out and lashing out against white people. We're just going to take note of the fact that you hate white people. And I'm taking note as a half white, half Hispanic. And by the way, the most violent part of my history is likely in my Hispanic background, not in my white background, because Irish people didn't do nothing, 100% innocent, never did anything wrong, all on the English, and the Hispanics got the natives and all these different people mixed in there. I've seen my 23andMe. It's not good. A lot of people were fighting it out, etc. So the idea that minorities and people in the Southern Hemisphere are without blame, absolutely ridiculous, shameful, and disgusting. But what I would expect from somebody who is an out-and-out racist like Cenk Uygur.
Now my kids are Asian. You gonna say something about their face?
Again, fundamental misunderstanding of what Crowder said and why it was something that could have worked as a joke. Cenk, your kids are half Chinese, they're half Asian, so they wouldn't have the full Asian face if you're gonna go with that, but you've totally lost your mind in this segment. You're spazzing out of control because you're emotionally unstable, and your hatred for white people has been bubbling up to the surface.
So Stweven Crowder, you're not funny. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. There's plenty of Asian comedians that make plenty of jokes about Asians. It's not, nobody's banning jokes about Asians. It isn't a joke. You're just saying, haha, look at her face. We don't like Asian faces. That's because you're a goddamn racist, goddamn racist, goddamn racist. And your stupid sidekick is the most racist person I've ever seen.
Cenk, Stweven Crowder didn't say that he doesn't like Asian faces. Nobody at the Crowder Studios said that they didn't like Asian faces. Again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. That came from your brain. Also, the idea that the guy who brought up geisha, which you in your brain made into a prostitution joke when it definitely was not a prostitution joke, is the most racist person you've ever seen, is actually kind of hilarious because you call everybody racist, and if that's the bar for racism, then it's not really a huge problem in this nation.
I'm done appeasing the right wing in terms of like, we never appease them, right? But the media gets mad at us when we call them stupid, and other people get mad at us when we call them stupid. And so that's what I mean. I'm done with it. Look, you guys are less intelligent than us.
I like how Cenk's like, I'm tired of appeasing the right wing. I'm tired of doing that. I'm tired of being a nice guy. But then Cenk's like, wait a minute, my persona is a tough guy, so I'm never appeasing the right wing. I'm never a nice guy to them. So he undercuts his premise right there. But he's about to do it even further, where he talks about how you're just dumb, you're stupid, if you think inherently somebody's race means that they're more violent. Again, remember what Cenk said earlier in the video.
If you think that people act certain ways because of their race, and you think that, oh, I'll make other people laugh at others for their face, for their ethnicity, for their race, etc., and you think that that's actually how humans behave, oh, white people are smart and black people are dumb and all these other stereotypes you have, and Asian people do this and this, and all the other stereotypes you have, those stereotypes are literally unintelligent. It's the refuge of people who are not bright. So they can't tell, they're confused, they're lost in a world. And they're like, I don't know what the hell's going on, I'm blind. Is it God, is it this, is it race? I don't know anything. I'm so stupid. Oh, I know, I'll say it's race.
Cenk has no idea where he's going with any of this. He's like spazzing out, freaking out, talking about how, oh, the race and this and that. First of all, stereotypes are not actually genetic things. They're cultural phenomenons. They're general rules that have become so common that we label them, but they're not 100% accurate. Everybody knows there's a not all attached to that. For instance, you could say that Muslims pray a lot. Some of them pray 5 times a day. And somebody would say, oh, well, that's a stereotype because I know a Muslim guy who only prays 2 times a day or once a week or whatever. But that's an observation of that culture that is distilled into something that people can process. Again, we do this because categorizing makes things easier. It's not always perfect. Nobody argues it's a perfect system. But Cenk, you do this all the time. You just blamed all white people for World War I, World War II, and the Holocaust.
And when Crowder says it and Tucker Carlson says it and every right-wing commentator is a racist, every one of them. I've never seen them not be racist. And all their fans are like, yes, yes, racism, it's so funny. Well, that is, other than being hateful, it is literally unintelligent. And if you want to cry about that, this is when I invite you to cry all day and all night long. I don't care about your stupid little racist feelings.
So Cenk just said he never saw a right-wing commentator not be racist. Never saw them not doing something racist. So Cenk just views all right-wing commentary as, first of all, white. He conflates the two, flips them back and forth because Cenk is a racist. He associates white with a belief system. He's stereotyping right now. That's what Cenk is doing, even though the overwhelming majority of progressives are white men. They're wussified white men, but they are white men. That's who's leading the movement that he's in. And he says he's never seen them not be racist because they're all racist, 100% of them, and they're not intelligent. Cenk, first of all, you were on the right and you consider yourself a right-wing commentator before you moved to the left after George Bush's election. So I have some questions to ask you, although I think the answer is obvious because you're as racist now as you've ever been, if not more so. You're not open about it. You're so racist that you sought out an ideology where you could flex your anti-white hatred and not have it be held against you because that's who you are, Cenk. And it's shameful, honestly and embarrassingly. And nobody wants to cry. Nobody's offended by you. Nobody's threatened by you, Cenk. You can't do anything. You have no value. And I say that about you as an individual person. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity because it's all about the content of your character. And again, I will say this for the millionth time. Go get help. There's something wrong. Your rage issues are magnifying. I don't know if it's the stress of a falling audience or whatever, but you need to sort that out. And finally, I want to close with this point. Cenk, if you want to talk about harm against Asians, problems that they face, things that happen in the world that lead to violence against Asians, then maybe you shouldn't cover up for Black on Asian crimes. This is obviously an epidemic in this country, and your network refuses to cover it, and when you do cover it, you downplay the instances. All you care about are the white on Asian crimes because you don't care about Asian victims. What you actually care about is attacking white people. So you need white perpetrators, and that requires you to ignore the overwhelming majority of anti-Asian crimes, which are committed by Black people, except for the crimes obviously committed by other Asians. We all understand that, but we're talking about crimes that happen with race and victim being different. But hey, those are just my thoughts. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like the video, show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social media, support me via the support links in the description box. Come to Better Discourse if you're in Texas, November 6th. Ticketing information in the description. Till next time.